Hello, my name's Colin Fyfe. I'm the Chief Executive at Hinckley and Rugby Building Society. I'm sitting here in our boardroom in Hinckley, in our head office, but unfortunately I'm on my own. Tonight was our annual general meeting, and before COVID-19 came along, we were planning to hold it in the Temple Speech Rooms, part of Rugby School in the town of Rugby. It would be the first time that we would have held our AGM in Rugby, and was planned to be a celebration of the many years that the Society has operated in that town. However, we have undertaken our AGM this evening. We did it by video conference, and I want to tell you a little bit about how that went. I would like to answer the questions that have been sent to us by our members, and also I'd like to tell you a little bit about how the Society is reacting in these challenging times. First of all, let's look at the AGM. So it's the first time the Society has ever completed it by video conference, and we had all the directors, we had a couple of members of our staff, we had KPMG, our external auditors, and Howson's, the independent scrutineers, were also represented. Let me run through the various votes and tell you how they went and what the results were. Thank you to all our members for sending in your votes. It's very much appreciated, and let me go through those one by one. So the first vote was about the acceptance of the director's report, our annual accounts, our annual business statement, and our auditor's report, KPMG. The votes were 3,401 in favour and 41 against, so that's a majority of 98.81%. The second vote was to reappoint our external auditors, KPMG, to hold office as auditor of the Society until the conclusion of our next AGM. So the votes cast were as follows: 3,289 in favour, 137 against, and that's a majority of 96%. So item number 3 was to approve the director's remuneration report for the year ending 30th of November 2019, and the votes cast were 3,122 in favour, 271 against, giving a majority of 92.01%. We then went on to the election of all the directors of the Society. So first of all, the votes cast for Janine Bell. There were 3,264 in favour and 144 against, giving a majority of 95.77. So therefore, that means that Janine is re-elected as a director of the Society. Secondly, we had the votes for Colin Franklin, our chairman, and the votes for were 3,269 in favour, 141 against, giving a majority of 95.87. So Colin also re-elected as a director of the Society. And then the votes for myself, Colin Fyfe, so they were 3,262 in favour, 136 against, giving a majority of 96%, and therefore I've been re-elected as a director of the Society. Next we had Barbara Mellish. Barbara's votes in favour were 3,257, 147 against, giving a majority of 95.68. Barbara is re-elected as a director. Next it was Dean Waddingham, where the votes in favour were 3,249, 153 votes against, and a majority of 95.5%, re-electing Dean as a director. We had Gary Wilkinson next, where there were 3,243 in favour, 160 against, and a majority therefore of 95.3%. Gary re-elected as a director. David Woodward next with 3,251 in favour, 150 against, and a majority of 95.59. David re-elected as a director. And last but not least, we have Nemini Wyn Evans, where there were 3,244 in favour, 160 against, and a majority of 95.3%. And Nemini re-elected as a director. So in summary, all of tonight's resolutions were passed. They can be found. If anybody wants more clarity on those, please don't hesitate to contact me. Now, I was grateful for the questions that were sent in before tonight's AGM. Normally, we would have had a section on questions, and actually the AGM at the Temple Speech Rooms was going to be quite a night. We had a very inspiring speaker who hails from Rugby. We had a couple of singers and a dancer who are also from Rugby and have taken part in the Rugby's Got Talent awards. So it was going to be a bit different. And we're going to carry that forward to next year, where we've already spoken to Rugby School, and we hope to hold it in the same venue in 2021. But back to the questions, and I'm just going to read the questions out because I want to make sure that the individuals who sent in the question know that we've obviously received them, and I'll do my best to answer them as well as I possibly can on this video. So the first question was, how will the Society pay back the Term Funding Scheme loan, bearing in mind that there will be lower mortgage lending and a potential increase in savings withdrawals? And I think that question's very pertinent at the moment with COVID-19, where the housing market is certainly, the volume of transactions has reduced dramatically. So the term funding scheme is something that the Society has participated in. It was launched by the government, I think, back in 2016. And at the end of our financial year, we had still an outstanding balance of just under £100 million. Now, since that point, we've repaid down, so that at the end of February 2020, our outstanding balance was £76 million, which is a rather comfortable level, and our plan is to repay that over the period until it's due, which is in 2022. The term funding scheme is just one of the ways that we fund our balance sheet, mainly through customer deposits, but there are a number of wholesale ways in which we can fund our balance sheet. We also had, in the last couple of weeks, the Chancellor announced that there is a new term funding scheme which is in the process of being launched. We're looking at that quite carefully, because that may be advantageous to our members if the existing scheme, which is due to be repaid by 2022, if this new scheme, which will give us funding through to 2025. It will only be a small part of our funding, it'll be a small part of our balance sheet, but we will look at that. And I'm very comfortable that the sums that we have outstanding are very manageable with the funding flows for the Society. The second question, again, very topical. If you were to rewrite the risk strategies, now what would be the major risks for the Society? Well, unfortunately, we're living in one right now, and I'm really delighted the way my staff have reacted to the challenges with COVID-19. And I think we will see that for the weeks and months into the future. A number of our customers have taken advantage of the mortgage payment break, and we hope that will help them through the challenging time. We have other customers who've had to stop their housing transaction. It could be that that they can't get a valuation completed at the moment, or other factors. So there's a number of things at the moment which are really disrupting certainly the housing market, and also leading to uncertainty. So I would suspect that has come from really a low level on our list of risks to close to the top now, and how we manage that situation in the next few months and possibly longer. In terms of other risks, leading up to the recent times, the mortgage market has become very, very competitive, and that has meant that the pricing of mortgages have been absolutely great for borrowers. That's been challenging because the margin on those mortgages has been lower for organisations like your society, and that's something that we will see how that progresses in the months to come. We've also had a period now, really since the global financial crisis, of low margins, and that has continued with the Bank of England base rate being cut to an all-time low of 0.1%. That means that we need to manage the business very carefully, manage our cost base. We need to think about any investments we're planning to make, but we know we've got the right strategy, and we've got the right skills and experience in the society to manage through this time. So clearly some risks that have become more evident in recent times and becoming stronger risks, but it's really what we do every day, is managing through those risks in these times. Moving on to the third question, which was, what other means can you arrange for viewing the AGM? Well, I'm really sorry that people couldn't be face to face looking onto the stage at the Temple Speech Room, but we're going to use this video on our website. We may be able to cut and slice it onto social media. We've got the script of the AGM with all of the votes that were cast and the results. So all of those will be made available, and our marketing and PR team will be getting to work on those tomorrow morning. The next question was about our digital capability, and it asks, with other building societies with branches in Rugby, there is a facility to transfer money to a nominated bank account. What hope is there that Hinckley and Rugby Building Society will make this facility available in the foreseeable future? Well, last year, 2019, was a big one for us in replacing our online facility. We replaced our mortgage online facility, and then we replaced our savings online facility, and we were delighted to do so. One of the attributes of the savings online facility is that we can make payments between a savings account with Hinckley and Rugby and a nominated bank account. In fact, our offset mortgage customers can already do that. So that's one of the next stages of our digital strategy, to talk to our suppliers and get that facility in place. I know it's becoming more and more important to people, and we will make sure that that's listed on our agenda. The next question was to do with the remuneration report in the annual audit report. And the question was that in the annual report, Hinckley and Rugby is at pains to tell savers how much members of the board are paid. Can you follow the corporate governance of other organisations and the fair treatment of staff by publishing, as part of your annual review, the ratio of the highest earners to the lowest earners? And what was it as at the 30th of November 2019? And this is part of the Corporate Governance Code, and the Corporate Governance Code was updated in 2018. And we are looking to be bound by that in our next annual report, so for the period ending 30th November 2020. But I'm really happy to talk about that and disclose what our ratio was. So at the end of November, 30th of November 2019, our ratio was 14. So from the lowest earner to the highest end earner, it was a ratio of 14 times. And of course, we will look at how we publish that information in our annual report and accounts, make sure it's really clear and transparent. And we do aim to look at all of our pay levels and make sure that we treat everybody at every level fairly. And the final question was about our average interest rate that we pay to savers. It's been quite a period for savers where borrowers have been able to benefit from low interest rates, but it has been more challenging for savers with a low Bank of England base rate. So the question was, what is the average interest rate paid to savers in the year ending 30th of November 2019? And getting my calculator out earlier, I worked that out that it was 1.34%. 1.34%, which during that period of time, the Bank of England base rate was at 0.75. So on reflection, I'm quite pleased that I can say that we were just about 0.6% on average above the Bank of England base rate. Now, naturally, there'll be different terms for that money. Some of it will be instant access. Some might be locked up for a year, 2 years or so. So it's hard to give you a figure that absolutely gives you every eventuality. But the answer to the question is 1.34. The drop in interest rates from 0.75 just a couple of weeks ago down to 0.1 now has unfortunately had an adverse effect on savers, and I think you'll see that across the market. But we will always strive to be as fair as we possibly can and pay the strongest rates that we can to our members. So thank you again for sending in those questions, and I never tire of getting questions at any point in time from our members. It's good to engage and talk about how the society's doing and how you're feeling about the service that you're getting. Let me just touch on how the society is at the moment. We're in the midst of the outbreak of COVID-19, but I'm pleased to respond that the vast majority of our staff have been very healthy so far. We have, as you would imagine, been following the government guidance very, very closely, and therefore anyone who has any signs that they may be suffering with the virus have been sent home and have self-isolated. As I record this tonight on the 31st of March, all our branches are open for business. And we have reduced the opening times because we are shorter of staff, and we have a number of staff where, for underlying health reasons, we've asked them to stay at home. But our branches are open. They're currently open Monday to Friday, 9:30 until 1, with an exception being a Thursday, where it's 10 o'clock until 1. And I hope that we can continue with those hours and build them back up in time to our normal opening hours. I'm fortunate that the society, before I arrived, had invested in technology that allows many, many staff to work from home. And therefore that is what we've been doing, and making sure that our staff are protected, and therefore our members are also protected, and that the society can continue to do its daily work. So therefore our mortgage business is fully open. We are talking to customers, we're talking to mortgage intermediaries, and our savings business, we obviously have been serving our customers through the branches and also through phone calls that we've received. We expect a challenging time in the weeks and months ahead. We hope that our staff can stay safe and well, and we hope that we and I guess the rest of the public can come through these times as well as possible. Society is in a good place. We are very well funded. We have a good capital position. We have a very, very strong staff base. The knowledge, the skills, and the experience are excellent. And when I've worked on each of the branch counters in 2019, every single member who came in to visit, to make a withdrawal, to open an account, to pay money in, they were at pains to tell me about the great service that they get from our staff. So putting all that together, we're in very good shape. We look forward to being able to serve you in the months and years ahead. I hope that next year I can say these words face to face with you. I hope when we have our AGM in 2021 that we'll have the same sort of number looking to attend as we had this year. We were just short of 200 people had said they would come and hear how the society was doing. And I hope you can keep it in your diary and we can communicate with you and we see you in 2021. So thank you very much for listening and goodbye.